Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really fascinating and maybe a little unsettling question about the future of AI. I mean, think about it. In a totally automated world, do we, the consumers, even matter anymore?
So yeah, that's the big question, right? It's what everyone's talking about when it comes to AI. As these machines just get smarter and better at, well, everything, are we accidentally designing ourselves right out of the economic picture? Okay, so to really get into this, we first have to talk about something called automation anxiety. And look, this is not a new fear. People have worried about this for ages. But with today's AI, it just feels different, more real. For a long time now, economists have talked about this kind of scary tipping point, a point where human labor actually has negative value. Just think about that. It means it would literally cost a company more to hire you, salary, benefits, office space, than whatever you could produce for them. So in a world like that, where do we fit in? So faced with that pretty bleak thought, what's the counterargument? Well, the most popular one says, hey, don't panic. The idea is that capitalism itself has this built-in safety net for all of us. And that safety net? It's us, the consumers. And the logic here is actually pretty simple and, kind of comforting. It goes like this. Companies have to sell stuff to somebody, right? So if they automate every single job, nobody has any money. And if nobody has any money, who's going to buy their products? Their whole business model just collapses.
This line of thinking naturally leads to the idea of a universal basic income, or UBI. The logic is like a chain of events. 1, AI takes the jobs. 2, people lose their income. So, step 3, the government, or maybe even the companies, step in and provide a UBI. And voila, step 4. People have money again and can go back to buying things. It sounds like a neat, tidy solution, right? A perfect circle. Because at the end of the day, consumer spending is what makes our whole economy go round. The best way to think about it is like a giant voting system. Every single time you buy something, you're casting a vote. You're telling businesses, hey, make more of this. It's the main way the economy figures out what we all actually want. But what if that whole system, that fundamental voting mechanism, could just be bypassed? Let's run a little thought experiment here to see how that could actually happen. Okay, so step 1. Picture a world where super advanced AI and humanoid robots become the perfect worker. They're cheaper, faster, they don't take coffee breaks, you get the idea. And because every business is competing, they basically have no choice but to replace all their human workers with these machines. Okay, step 2. We've now got 100% unemployment. The whole link between working a job and earning money is just gone. The entire population now has to rely on some kind of government assistance just to get by, just for the basics like food and a place to live.
All right, but here's the kicker. Step 3. You might think, well, just tax these super rich, super productive companies to pay for it all. And maybe that works for a little while. But think long term. These companies don't need local workers anymore. So what's stopping them from just moving their headquarters to whatever country has zero taxes? You'd get this global race to the bottom for tax rates, and pretty soon, there's no money left to fund those welfare programs.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question. I mean, if the vast majority of people have no job and no welfare check, who are these automated factories even making stuff for? And the answer is kind of chilling. The economy just reorients itself. It stops being about serving billions of people. Instead, it caters only to the tiny, tiny group of people who actually own all the robots and AI systems. And you can see what a massive shift that would be. The whole focus of what gets made just flips on its head. We'd go from an economy that makes millions of affordable cars and smartphones for everybody to an economy that makes, custom super yachts and private jets for a handful of people. The average person, we'd become totally irrelevant to the economy. Okay, that is a really bleak picture, I get it. But before we all get too worried about this dystopian future, let's pump the brakes and look at history. Because this fear of being replaced by tech, is not new at all. We've been through this cycle a bunch of times. I mean, seriously, this has happened over and over again. When the printing press came out in the 1400s, people worried about the scribes. Then you had the power loom in the 1700s, and it was the weavers' jobs on the line. Fast forward to the 80s with computers, and the 90s with the internet. Every single time, the prediction was the same. Mass unemployment is just around the corner. And yet, here we are. After all that anxiety, all those predictions of doom, what actually happened? Well, today, many of the most technologically advanced countries in the world have a record low unemployment. The thing everyone was so scared of, it just never happened.
So, this history lesson kind of suggests that maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe the question isn't about replacement, maybe it's actually about productivity.
So instead of thinking of AI as a robot that takes your job, think of it as a tool that supercharges your job. It's not about replacing a person one for one. It's about giving a person a tool that makes them way, way more productive. It's less like a Terminator and more like a search engine on steroids or the world's best calculator. And that's why this is such a big deal. There's this famous quote from the economist Paul Krugman that gets right to the heart of it. Basically, he said that in the long run, a country's standard of living almost entirely depends on its productivity, how much stuff each worker can produce. So tools that make us more productive, they're literally the engine of a better life for everyone.
And we're already seeing this new landscape take shape, and it's fascinating. It's turning a lot of old ideas upside down. For instance, who would have thought that creative jobs like writing and art would be automated faster than many physical jobs? And we're seeing brand new jobs pop up that didn't even exist a year ago. Just being great at talking to an AI, being an AI prompt writer, that might be a totally normal job title very soon. So when you boil it all down, maybe the real question we should be asking ourselves isn't, is a robot going to take my job? A much better and much more empowering question is this: how am I going to use AI to do my job better? Because the challenge here probably isn't about fighting off the robots. It's about learning how to use these incredible new tools to create more, do more, and be more valuable than ever.